iHeart, get ready. Fantasy football is here. Welcome to the Scout Fantasy Show. ScoutFantasy.com is home to the Fantasy Football World Championships and the best players in the world. Real money winners giving their secrets to help you win. Now exclusively on iHeart. This is the Scout Fantasy Show with your host, the one, the only, Dr. Roto.
Hey there, everybody. It's Dr. Roto. Get out the insurance cards. Get out the copay. The office is open, my friends. All right, taking a look at some news and notes. I don't know what's going on with Antonio Brown, but he seems to be a little upset. Maybe he's not getting the football enough. He missed some team meetings. I don't know what's going on with the Steelers right now, but it's a mess. I don't know whether it's Mike Tomlin. I don't know whether it's the ownership. There's no Le'Veon Bell. I'm worried here. I'm a little worried. Brown's not happy. Bell's not happy. Pay the guy already. Make people happy. You're blowing your chances. It's killing me. Larry Fitzgerald looks like he's going to play in week 3. A little banged up with his hamstring. Let's watch that closely, and we'll see what's going on. You saw Greg Zuerlein out for a few weeks. I don't know if you saw that. Out for a few weeks with a groin issue. So I'm going to drop him in leagues. If that means that somebody else gets him later, so be it. I'm not going to hold on to a kicker. I'm going to move on from him. Big news yesterday, enormous news yesterday, was the Josh Gordon signing. I just don't understand. Cleveland goes, I don't want to trade him in the same conference. And you send him to New England? Seriously? I mean, come on. New England's already good. Do they need to get that much better? That said, I am not loving Josh Gordon this year. So I'm going to give you my reasoning. Maybe you tell me I'm crazy, but here goes. Last year, Tom Brady did not have a successful campaign with Brandon Cooks. Just didn't work. I think Cook's a better receiver than Gordon in many ways. I mean, Gordon may be a stronger, faster guy, but I think Cooks runs better routes. I think Brady doesn't have the arm to go downfield like Gordon may like. That may be a problem. And now he's sharing targets with Edelman, Gronk, Hogan. I don't know. The pieces just say to me, Gordon can make 2 or 3 big plays a game like Brandon Cooks did, but I just don't know if it's going to be special. Good play, not great. That's where I'm going with it. All right, last night, Chicago played the Seahawks. Man, you have Russell Wilson right now. That offensive line is disgusting. Really bad. 226 yards, 2 touchdowns. Tyler Lockett with a touchdown. I liked him at the beginning of this year. He's paid off for me. Brandon Marshall, the narrative, 4 for 44, whatever. Jordan Howard did very little. Mitch Trubisky, I don't know. He played well, but not great. I think he's a work in progress. And I said this to people. I thought that Trubisky, you were 1 year too soon on Trubisky. There may be talent with him, but I just don't see it yet. Trey Burton went 4 for 20. Allen Robinson had 14 targets. So as I like to do, let's go inside the box scores. Allen Robinson, there were 34 targets. He had 14 of them. Taylor Gabriel had 7. Trey Burton only had 4. That's not enough. Trey Burton needs more. And Seattle, there just weren't enough targets either. I mean, he should have passed the ball more. Lockett had 7, but he spread the ball out. He spread the ball out to more people. Lockett had 7, Marshall had 6, Disley had 5, Jerome Brown. Everybody got involved. Nice, but not great. All right, Denver and Oakland, Emmanuel Sanders only had 4 targets. Jake Butt out-targeted him 6-4. Demaryius Thomas had 11. Cortland Sutton had 6. Why is Emmanuel Sanders the 4th most targeted guy in that team? That's something you need to keep an eyeball on. For Oakland, Amari Cooper had 10 targets. Jared Cook only had 4. 4 for 49 with 4 targets. He needs to get targeted more often. Absolutely needs to get targeted more often. All right, in Jacksonville, do you know who the number 1 targeted guy was this week? Donta Moncrief had 9. Keelan Cole had 8. Westbrook had 5. Corey Grant had 7. Austin Safarian Nightmare had 4. TJ Yeldon had 5. All right, for the New England, James White had 8. Hogan had 5. Gronk only had 4. I guess that was to be expected against the Jaguars. That was to be expected. San Francisco, Dante Pettis had 2. George Kittle had 4. But they ran the ball so well that they didn't have to throw that much. But Dante Pettis getting 2 really surprised me. Really surprised me. For Detroit, Golden Tate had 13. Theo Riddick had 12. Galladay and Marvin Jones both had 9. Kerryon Johnson had 6. So that's how that distribution is going to go. That's not shocking there because Golden Tate always gets the ball. For the Rams, Brandon Cooks had 9. Robert Woods had 9. Cooper Kupp had 6. And then Gurley had 3. So you know they have those 4 guys there. But for Arizona, do you know who led the team in targets? Ricky Seals-Jones had 6. Fitzgerald, Kirk, and Edmonds all had 5 each. I mean, that's really not good. You've got to get the ball to Larry Fitzgerald. Now, we told you at Scout Fantasy Sports, and I know I told you not to take Larry Fitzgerald this year because he was going to lose targets. This is what we do for a living. We don't lie. I told you this was going to happen, and it did. All right, for Green Bay, Devonta Adams had 12 targets. Jimmy Graham, 8. Allison and Cobb both had 6. For Minnesota, Thielen, 13. Diggs, 13. Rudolph, 8. Cook, 5. Laquan Treadwell with 6. What does that tell you? If Thielen or Diggs should get injured, Laquan Treadwell has some ability there. And Kirk Cousins trusting him. Now, for Tennessee, Corey Davis had a third of the targets. 7 targets out of 21, okay? But the rest of the guys really did nothing. And that's the problem. They want to run the ball. This is a team that wants to run the ball and not throw it. So really, on Tennessee, you better watch. Jonnu Smith didn't even have a target. That's a problem. For Houston, there were 28 targets there. 20 were DeAndre Hopkins and Will Fuller combined. You can't, I mean, that is just a huge number. That is a huge number. It's got to get better. If Houston wants to win games, you can't just have 2 guys do things for you and nobody else. All right, for Atlanta, Julio Jones Roto had 9. Calvin Ridley and Hooper both had 5. Coleman had 4. Calvin Ridley had 5 targets. Mohamed Sanu 2. Maybe there's something to be said for that. If there is, I like me some Calvin Ridley. For Carolina, Christian McCaffrey had 15 targets out of 45 for the team. That's 1/3. Devin Funchess had 9. That's 24 out of 45 targets. That's more than half. Went to those 2 guys. Jarius Wright had 7 targets. Torrey Smith had 7. DJ Moore only had 2. We need to see DJ Moore with more targets. We absolutely do. All right, for Tampa Bay, Mike Evans had 12 targets. Godwin had 6. Deshaun Jackson only had 4 targets, but he made the most of them. But where were the running back targets? Jaquiz Rogers and Peyton Barber only had 5 between them. For Philadelphia, Zach Ertz had 13 targets, and Nelson Aguilar had 12. And then that was a big drop. So right there, that was 25 out of 45 went to those 2 guys. So you know who Nick Foles is going to. It's going to Ertz, it's going to Aguilar. There's no more Mike Wallace there. So I think those guys are going to get fed even more, the football. Even more. Miami and the Jets. Quincy Enunwa, 11 targets. Terrell Pryor, 8. Robbie Anderson, 5. Bilal Powell, 6. Chris Herndon, 4. That's Sam Darnold doing a spectacular job of getting everybody involved. I love what I see there. For Miami, I want to vomit. Albert Wilson, 5. Amendola, 4. Jakeem Grant, 4. Kenny Stills, 3. Drake, 4. You got to target one guy. If Stills is your number 1 receiver, give him the football. But Miami didn't have to do that when they're up 20-0 at halftime. So that's game flow for me. I think Kenny Stills will have better days. The Washington Redskins, Chris Thompson had 14 targets. Paul Richardson and Jordan Reed combined had 14 targets. That's way too many targets to the running back. That's why the Redskins lost the game. For Indianapolis, T.Y. Hilton had 11 targets. People said Jack Doyle didn't do a good job, but he out-targeted Eric Ebron, and he had the second most targets on the team with 5. Don't lose hope with Jack Doyle. He's still a very good player. Kansas City and Pittsburgh, Travis Kelce had 10 targets, Sammy Watkins 7, Tyreek Hill 6. I'm mostly concerned that Kareem Hunt only had 1 target. That's a problem. Kareem Hunt needs to do more than that. For Pittsburgh, Juju had 19 targets and Brown had 17, but maybe this is why Antonio Brown is pissed. Maybe he wants more than Juju. What can I tell you? Jesse James had 5, James Conner had 5, Vance McDonald had 5. He threw the ball 60 times. So, I mean, when Ben is in one of those days at home, everybody's seeing the football. All right, the Chargers and the Bills, there was nobody in the Bills who had more than 5 targets. That was Marcus Murphy. The rest of the team just stinks. You can't own anybody on this team. Kelvin Benjamin, 3 targets. That's shameful. For the Chargers, Keenan Allen, He had 8 targets. Tyrell Williams had 3. Mike Williams had 2. They were winning by so much that they didn't have to do anything here. And that's what I think is going to happen with Minnesota this week. I think they're going to go out to 30-0 at halftime, and those guys aren't going to get a lot of opportunities in the second half. New Orleans, Michael Thomas had 13. Ted Ginn had 7. Kamara had 6. Benjamin Watson had 5. Traquan Smith 1. That, everybody's like, Traquan Smith's going to be good. Not yet. Not yet. For Cleveland, Landry, Higgins, and Njoku all had 7. That's a lot. Higgins had a lot. Njoku had a lot. Tyrod Taylor spread the ball around effectively. That was very good for him. For Dallas, Ezekiel Elliott had 6 targets. That's a lot. He had 5 receptions, 9 yards. He'll have better days, but nobody else there is a weapon. For the Giants, Saquon Barkley had 16 targets and Evan Engram had 7. Beckham only had 9. Sterling Shepard had 5. For the Giants, the Giants are losing games when their running back and tight end gets the targets. The Giants have to feed Shepard and Odell Beckham Jr. Roto. If they don't feed them, they're not going to win. But if you want to win, whether it's in regular seasonal, you go to scoutfantasysports.com. If it's DFS, you go to scoutdfs.com. We're providing you the information. I break down the box scores for you, tell you what I'm seeing. If a guy's not getting touches, I'm telling you why. If the guy's getting too many touches, I tell you why there. All this information helps you get the knowledge that you need to win your fantasy football league. All right, but it's time now to put away the insurance cards, put away the copay. The office is closed, my friends. I come back on Wednesday. What do? Waiver Wire Wednesday. I hook you up with the guys you're going to need to go pick up in Fab. I'll do that tomorrow. This is Dr. Roto saying be well and take care.
Thanks for listening to the Scout Fantasy Show. There's never been a better time to join the Scout Army. Visit scoutfantasy.com. Use the promo ROTO for 2 months free. And don't forget, fantasy players, please thumbs up the podcast on the iHeart app. See you next time. Go Scouts!